Welcome all for today's session on accounting process and analysis. Myself Lakshmi here, representing from Tally Solutions Private Limited. Today we are going to cover a lot of topics that are in the domain of the accounting, not just instead of just bookkeeping. Let's now see what are our learning objectives for today's session. We are going to cover regarding the reminder letters, confirmation of accounts, interest calculation feature, handling multi-currency transactions, viewing cash and fund flow reports, optional voucher usage, reversing journals usage, scenario management, and finally we are going to discuss on topic ratio analysis. Let's now look into these topics one by one in detail. Starting with the first topic, that is reminder letters. Let us use the Acme Private Limited as our current company data for today's session. One of the biggest business challenges is the control of receivables. It is quite common that companies have to follow up to receive money that is due from their customers. Now let us see how exactly we can generate the reminder letters from Tally.ERP 9. As we have told, we have considered Acme Private Limited. As you can see here that there are no vouchers entered, let us record few transactions first. Then let us see how exactly we can generate the reminder letter. This past your sales transactions. By pressing F8. Let us select the party ledger as present software. The ledger has been already created in the data under the group Sunday debtors. I am going to record this transaction as on 1st April 2014 for the value 10,000. And here I am going to mention the bill-wise reference number, that is nothing but the bill number, as bill 1. And if required, you can mention the due date which you have given to the party to make the payment. And I'll credit the sales, enter the narration and accept the entry. Let's create few more transactions as on 2nd April, selecting the same party ledger for the value 20,000, mentioning the bill name and mentioning the due date, and accept the voucher. Now there are two sales entries that we have recorded for the party ledger, present soft links. When we navigate from display, statement of account, outstanding, and the ledger report, you can see over here there are two bills that are pending for the party. So now we decide to send them a reminder letter by printing the reminder letter. So in order to print the reminder letter, simply press Alt on the report, press backspace. You will be getting the option print reminder letter. We need to set this option to S and mention the aging as desired by you. Enter and accept it. Enable the other option as required. The parameters can be set by you. Let us view the report by enabling the option with print preview. Let's view it by pressing Alt Z. You can see that we are able to print the reminder letter for the party ledger. As you can see, the Tally prepares a reminder letter. Here, credit balances are not included as it is customary. So, we have generated the reminder letter for one of the party ledger. Now, let's see how exactly we can change the text format of the reminder letter. The default print format you just saw may not be meet your needs. You may want to specify the delayed interest or other notes also. so which we have not included in the standard text format. So if you want to make the changes to the standard text format, which is displayed over here, you have to navigate from the gateway of Tally to Excel configuration, printing. Here we have given the option that is reminder letter. Enter on this one. So here, using whatever the information you want to edit as per your requirement in the first paragraph and the second paragraph, you will be able to make the changes over here and then accept the screen to save the changes that you have made. So let us make few changes in the second paragraph. Let us type an additional sentence over here, that is, note that the interest at the rate of 10% will be charged on the delayed payment. Enter and accept it so that the setting will be saved. Now let us see by generating the report. So we will navigate from display, statement of accounts, outstanding, ledger, select the ledger, press Alt key, enable the option print reminder letter, provide the aging parameters as required, enter and accept it. Now check it out in the preview screen. You'll be able to notice that whatever the changes that we have made in the text format is being into effect. What if you want to send the reminder letters to all the debtors at once? The process described will take too much of time with hundreds of debtors. Tally provides a host of multi-print services under the multi-account printing menu, which you will find in the main gateway of Tally menu. So, navigating to the gateway of Tally, you will be able to see the multi-account printing menu over here. And it's very important to note that this option is only available in the licensed version and will not be found in the educational version. Now, we want to generate the reminder letters for all the sundry debtors parties. So, in order to generate the multi-ledger reminder letter, you have to navigate from multi-account printing menu, outstanding statement, ledger, group of accounts, select the group sundry debtors, press backspace in order to enable the option print reminder letter, mention the aging as desired, enter and accept it. You will be able to view the report by pressing Alt Z. Here, right now, we are able to view the reminder letter of only one particular party ledger. In case if there are more than one ledger, all the parties will be generated in separate pages. What if you want to prefer to email these letters? Once the print configuration comes on screen, that is nothing but right now we are on the printing screen from the multi-account printing menu option. If you want to email this report, simply you need to press Alt-N, emailing, and you need to configure the outgoing mail server. Tally has helpful default settings for Gmail, Hotmail and Yahoo. For others, you will need to get the details from the email administrator of your company. Now let us select as Gmail. Let us provide the front email ID. From whichever email ID you want to send the report to the respective party ledgers. And select the format in whichever you want to send the report. Here under the to email address, in order to email the report for all the respective party ledgers for whomever you are generating the reminder letter based on their balances, you have to mention their email ID in the respective ledger master. And you need to select the option here as all ledgers. And before emailing this particular report, ensure that you have enabled the option email reminder letter to S and accept the screen. So now let us move on to the next topic, that is confirmation of account. As part of good accounting practice, companies send out a ledger statement to their creditors and debtors, asking them to confirm if the accounts in their books match with our books. This small step helps to resolve their issues later on and is also a document that has a legal validity. The confirmation of account statement can be printed or emailed from Tally as we discussed in the outstanding statement. So now let us see how we can print the confirmation of account for one particular ledger in Tally. Before generating the confirmation of accounts, let us pass few transactions. Let us pass few purchase transactions for the party. That is Prism Software. For Prism Software, let us select the same party. Let us record this transaction as on 1st December 2014 for the amount 10,000. Mention the bill reference, due date, and debit the account to the purchasers. Let's pass few more transactions for the same party. On the 2nd of December, mentioning the bill name and the due date, and debiting to the purchase account and record it. So as of now, for the Prism Soft Links, we have created two purchase entries and we want to confirm the same with the same party, that is Prism Software. So in order to confirm the books of accounts, we are going to send the confirmation of accounts generated from Tally, or we can also email to the respective party ledger. So now in order to generate the confirmation of accounts, we have to navigate from display, accounts book, ledger. Let's select the party ledger Prism Software, and you need to press P in order to print the report. So on the printing screen, you need to press backspace and you need to select the style of report as confirmation of accounts. And we are given a set of parameters as needed. You have to enable or disable the options. So now let us zoom it to view the report. You can see that the confirmation of accounts for the party Prism Soft Links has been printed now. So now let us see how exactly we can make the changes in the text format of the confirmation of accounts, as we have made the changes for the reminder letters. So in order to make the text format changes, from the gateway of Tally, you have to press F12, printing option, enter on confirmation statements, and here you can make the changes in the first, second paragraph so that the same can have the effect. So once after making the changes, you can enter and accept the same, so that after making the changes, if you are going to generate the confirmation of accounts, the same will be having the effect in the printout. So as said before, while generating the confirmation of accounts, we have given set of parameters, like whether you want to generate the report in the details or condensed, whether you want to print it with a company PAN or IT number. As desired or as required or as per the requirement, you can enable or disable the options. Like before, we can print multiple confirmation of account statements from the multi-account printing menu option. Let us now see how exactly we can print. So in order to print the confirmation of statements for the multiple party ledgers, you can navigate from multi-account printing, accounts book, ledger option, group of accounts, you can select the specific ledger group and the printing screen will appear over here. By pressing backspace, you can mention the period. By default, it will be till date, and then you can mention the style of report as confirmation of accounts and enable the parameters as required and give the print command so that the same will be printed. And also, we can also email the confirmation of statements from group of accounts option. So once I enter on the particular specific party ledger, it will be taken to the print menu. In order to email the report, you can simply press Alt-M. You can select the mail server configuration. And if the email IDs has been configured in all the party ledger masters, select the all ledger option over here and then email the report. And before emailing the report, ensure that style of report has been selected as confirmation of accounts. And then enter and accept it so that the mail IDs whichever you have configured in the respective party ledgers will receive their respective confirmation of account statement. Let's now start with the next feature, that is interest calculation. Tally.ERP 9 allows you to obtain the reports on interest calculated by Tally.ERP 9 based on the instructions you furnish. Interest figures are typically decided in the following situations: on outstanding balance amounts, on outstanding bills or invoices or transactions, that is nothing but receivable and payable. Let us see and understand this particular feature with the help of a scenario. Debtor Silver Plus Computers has purchased goods worth ₹10,000 as on 1st January 2015 and the due date for making the payment was 5th of January 2015. But payment was delayed and received as on 10th January 2015. So as there was delay in our payment, we are going to charge the interest at the rate of 10% on the bill amount and the same will be debited to the party's account. Let's see now how this scenario can be handled in Tally.ERP 9. Let us understand the scenario and recording transactions step by step. So step 1 includes we have to enable the interest calculation feature from F11 accounting feature. So once we enable the option, as we are having the transaction with Silver Plus Computer, we need to create the party ledger Silver Plus Computers and under Sunday debtors group, and we need to set the option bill-wise and the interest calculation to S, so that we can define the parameter on which our interest has to be calculated. So first step is about the activating interest calculation. We will press F11, accounting features. Here you will be having the option activate interest calculation. We are going to enable this option and let the use advanced parameter option set to S and accept it. Now let us create the ledger by the name Silver Plus Computer. As this ledger has already been created in my books of accounts, I'll just go to Alter and I'll select the party ledger. Here the ledger has been grouped under Sunday debtors group and maintain balances bill by bill and activate interest calculation has been set to S. Once you enable the option activate interest calculation, interest parameter screen will be displayed over here. So under which we are going to enable the option calculate interest transaction by transaction, and if this option is set to no, the interest will be calculated on the ledger balance and not on the transaction. Now let us not get into each option now. We will just observe the essentials which are calculate interest transaction by transaction, which is normally set to S. And the other setting is the calculate from, which we normally take it as due date. So we will mention the rate of interest over here and the calculation period, that is 30 days per month it has to get calculated. On debit balance of the party, applicability, let us select all these and calculate from, as per our scenario, it is from the due date of the invoice. So let us take the parameters due date of invoice and accept it. Let's move on to the third step. That is, now we have to record the sales transaction as on 1st January 2050 worth rupees 10,000, selecting the party ledger and mentioning the due date as 5th January under the bill by details field. So we have to navigate from accounting voucher. For making the sales voucher, press F8. Change the date by pressing F2 and mention the date as 1st January 2015. Let's select the party, Silver Plus Computer, and then select the sales ledger and the item that is being sold to the party, which is having the worth of 10,000. So before accepting the ledger, bill-wise details screen will be pop-up, wherein you have to mention the bill reference name and the due date, based on which the interest will be calculated. So let us mention the bill name as Bill 1. Due date as specified in our scenario. The due date for this particular party is 5th of January 2050. So let us mention the date and accept the voucher. So we have covered the step 3. Let's move on to step 4. That is, recording the receipt voucher as on 10th January as specified. So in order to pass the receipt voucher, press F6 and change the date by pressing F2 to 10th January 2015. Let's select the bank account through whichever we are receiving the amount from the party, which has been credited to our bank account. And under particulars, let's select the party ledger, and here you have to select the bill against which you are receiving the amount. Enter and accept it. So our step 5 is to check the interest calculation report, navigating from display, statement of account, interest calculation and ledger. So here, before checking the report, we have to mention the period as 5th January 2015 to 10th Jan to check the interest accrued, because we have made the sales to party as on 1st January and the due date was 5th of January. That party has delayed payment and he has made the payment as on 10th Jan. So considering our due date and the payment received date, the interest will be charged. Let us see what is the interest amount on the transaction that we have recorded now. So you have to navigate from display, statement of accounts, interest calculation, ledger. Select the ledger, Silver Plus Computer. Mention the period by pressing Alt F2, that is 5th January 2015 till 10th January 2015. And make the report as detailed 1 by pressing Alt F1. You can see over here on the bill amount, that is 10,000. Considering 5th Jan to 10th Jan, the interest has been charged at the rate of 10% for 5 days. So, our interest due amount is 166.67 rupees. So, now we have come to know, based on the delayed payment, we are going to charge interest of 166 rupees to the party account. So, how this can be recorded now? So, in order to account the interest accrued to party account, we need to create the voucher class for interest calculation under the debit note. So, you have to make a note over here. Whenever you are having the interest receivable, it has to be accounted using the debit note voucher class, and whenever you are having the interest payable, it has to be recorded using the credit note voucher class. Let's see now how exactly we can create the voucher class and account the interest due from the party. So, in order to create the voucher class now, navigate from Accounts Info, Voucher Types, Author, select the voucher type Debit Note and press Enter to move your cursor to the name of the class. Here give the name of the class as Interest Due and enter it. You will be able to get an option, Use Class for Interest Accounting. Enable this option. And one more thing we need to mention over here, there are two methods of charging the interest. One is simple method and one is compound interest method. So right now, as per our scenario, we are going to charge interest as per the simple interest method. If you are having the compound interest based of calculation, you can enable the second option, that is amounts to be treated as compound interest, and accept the screen. So now before creating a debit note, we need to ensure that debit note has been enabled from F11 features. So press F11, accounting features. You need to ensure that use debit note or credit note option is set to S, so that we can make the entry. Now we are going to account the interest charged on the party as on 10th of January. So navigate from accounting vouchers. Press Ctrl F9 for debit note. Select the voucher class that we have created. And here you need to select the party ledger. Select the party ledger. The bill reference details will appear here against whichever the interest has been charged or accrued. Select the bill over here. Either you can select a single bill reference here, or you can also choose the multiple bill references if they are existing, and then select end of list. Select new reference here and give the reference for interest due. And here you need to credit it to the interest receivable account, which we have created under indirect income account. And accept it. So once you charge the interest and once we account it to the party ledger, you can go and check its report under the statement of accounts outstanding. So navigate from display, statement of accounts, outstanding, ledger, select Silver Plus Computers. You can see over here, as per our debit note that we have recorded, party is pending to pay 166 rupees of interest to us. So once you receive the interest amount, you can record a voucher by using the receipt voucher. So let's now see how exactly we can account that. Let's go to accounting vouchers, press F6 to receipt. See an example. Next day we are going to receive the interest from the party. Select the account through whichever the party is making the payment, and then select the party ledger. Select the interest due bill reference and enter and accept it, so that the bill reference can be knocked out. Now you can navigate from display, statement of accounts, outstanding, ledger. You can check over here, there is no pending amount and it has been cleared now. So this is all about the interest calculation, the transaction that we use. Let's move on to our next topic, that is multi-currency. This can be a very detailed subject in itself, and today we will just introduce the topic and point out some core aspects. First, we will know how to enable the multi-currency feature from Tally, that is from accounting feature F11. Then let us create the currencies that this particular company handles, like US dollar, UK pound and euro. Let's see how exactly we can create or enable the multi-currency feature and create the currencies then, and then we can define the standard rates. So in order to enable the option, I'll navigate from F11, accounting features. You need to enable the option allow multi-currency to S. Enter and accept the screen. So once the option is enabled, you will be able to create the currencies from the option accounts info, currencies, create. Let us create few currencies. Let us start with the US dollar. So in order to get the US dollar symbol, simply you need to press on Shift and 4 and mention the formal name as US dollar and enter and accept it. Likewise, let us create the pound symbol, and in order to create the pound symbol, you need to use the command key, that is Alt plus 0163, which will be pressed using your number pad on the keyboard. So I am going to press Alt plus 0163, which is there on the number pad, and leave the Alt key so that you will be able to get the pound symbol. So let us give the formal name as UK pound. And enter and accept the currency creation screen. In the similar manner, we have to create the euro symbol, and the command to create the euro symbol is Alt plus 0128 from the keypad, number pad that we are having in the keyboard. Let's give the formal name as euro and enter and accept the currencies. We have seen enabling the multi-currency feature and creating the currencies. Once you have created all these three currencies, from the currency menu, you can specify the standard rate. You can also specify the daily buying and selling rates, which Tally will use if present, else Tally will consider the standard rates while making the transaction. Now let us specify the standard rates for few of the currencies. So in order to specify the standard rate, navigate from Accounts Info Currencies. I'll enter on rate of exchange. You can select the date over here as on whichever date you want to enter the rate of exchange. Let me give as on 1st January 2015. Let me give the rate of exchange, standard rate of exchange for UK pound and euro. And enter and accept it. Now let's understand the multi-currency feature with the help of the following scenario or the example. Just take the same company, that is Acme Private Limited, has purchased the goods from foreign supplier worth at the rate of $100 on 10th January 2015. And the exchange rate as on 10th January 2015 was 63 rupees per US dollar. Payment was made to party as on 12th January 2015 and the exchange rate as on 12th January 2015 was 62 rupees per US dollar. As there is decrease in the rate of exchange when we made the payment to the party, we have gained a forex gain of rupees 1 per US dollar in the above transaction. Now let us see how exactly we can record these transactions using the multi-currency feature in Tally. So, step 1 includes recording the purchases. Let's see now how exactly we can record the purchases. Before recording the purchases, which is as on 10th January 2015, let's change the date to 10th January 2015. And as we are purchasing from the foreign supplier, let's create a party account name by the name foreign supplier, and the shortcut key from the accounting voucher stream is Alt. Let's create the party's account name under Sundry Creditors. Enable the option Maintain Balances Bill by Bill. Enter and accept it. Then select the purchase ledger. Select the item that you are purchasing. Enter the quantity and under the rate column, enter the rate under the US dollars. With the symbol. So, as we are making the purchase for the $100, for 10 quantities it will be $10. Once you mention the rate as $10 and enter on numbers, a screen will pop up wherein you need to mention the rate of exchange that is existing as on 10th January 2015. By default, as this is the first transaction, Tally will capture rupees 1 as we have not specified any standard rate for the currency. So now let us change the rate of exchange to 63 per US dollar as per our example. So let's give the bill name as bill 3 and enter and accept it. So we have recorded the purchases as per our first step. Moving on to the second step, we are going to record the payment voucher. So press F5 to make the payment, and this payment entry we are going to record as on 12th January 2015. Select the account through whichever mode you are making the payment to the party, and here select the party as foreign supplier. Select the against reference, tracking to the same purchase bill, and once you press enter on the amount, screen will pop up wherein you have to mention the rate of exchange. So as on 12th January, the rate of exchange existing is 62 rupees per US dollar. So let us make changes as 62 rupees per US dollar and accept it. So now you can see over here, we are having a gain of rupee 1 per US dollar that we have made payment to the party. To know your forex gain amount, you can navigate from Gateway of Tally to balance sheet. So under the balance sheet, you will be able to see there is a forex gain amount of 100 rupees. So if there is a forex gain, it will appear under the liability side of the balance sheet, and if there is a loss, it will appear under the asset side of the balance sheet. You can also press enter on the unadjusted forex gain or loss amount in order to check the party through which it is appearing. And also you can drill down to the party ledger in order to see from which particular bill the gain or loss has been incurred. So now our next step is to create the forex gain ledger account and transfer the amount so that we can transfer the amount from the balance sheet to the profit and loss account. And this accounting adjustment entry we need to pass as per the accounting standards. So now our third and fourth step include creating the forex gain ledger account, and then we are going to make the adjustment class in the journal voucher type so that we can make the adjustment entry. So let us create a ledger first. From account info ledger, let us give the name as forex gain and loss, and as it's a gain, you can create it under indirect income and can accept it. Once after doing the same thing, we need to create the voucher class for making the adjustment entry. So for that purpose, we have to navigate from account info, voucher type, alter, select the voucher type as journal, press enter and move your cursor to the name of the class and give the name as forex gain or loss adjustment. Enter on this particular class now. You will be able to get the option use class for forex gain or loss adjustment. Enable this option, and under the ledger name, select the ledger that we have created under indirect income, that is forex gain or loss. Now enter and accept the voucher class. So now our step 5 includes we have to record the forex gain of rupee 1, and we have to transfer the amount from balance sheet to profit and loss account. Let's now see how exactly we can record this adjustment entry. So in order to make the adjustment entry under journal, we will enter on accounting vouchers, press F7 for the journal, select the class that we have created, mention the date as on whichever date you are going to transfer the amount from balance sheet. Let us give the date as 20th of January 2015, and under particular you will be able to get the foreign supplier details, and here all those party ledgers will be displayed for whomever we have incurred the forex gain or loss. So enter on the party ledger, the bill details will appear over here. You can track against the same bill, enter and accept the voucher. So once you make this adjustment entry, you can check in the balance sheet report and you will be able to see there is no forex gain amount that is appearing now. Instead, it has been transferred to profit and loss account. You can check the profit and loss account statement by making the report in the detailed format by pressing Alt F1. You can see here forex gain or loss is showing 100 rupees value, which is income for us as per the transaction that we have recorded. Switching to current company Acme Private Limited, let's first spend few minutes on understanding cash and fund flows. We will not get into details and leave it those interested to look up this information from other sources. Cash flow is the inflow and outflow of cash during an accounting period. A cash flow statement concentrates on the transactions that have a direct impact on cash. It deals with the inflow and outflow of cash between two balance sheet dates. That is, it explains the changes in cash position between two different periods. Here the term cash stands the cash balances and also the bank balances. So cash flow statements can also be used as receipt and payment statements. This is particularly useful for those businesses such as non-profit organizations where receipts and payment statements need to be generated. Let's see how exactly we can generate the cash flow report from Tally. So in order to generate the cash flow report from the gateway of Tally, we need to navigate from display, cash or fund flow. You can enter cash flow. So here you will be able to view for the January month what is our inflow and the outflow of the cash. You can make the report as the detailed one and you can come to know the net inflow that you are having. Net inflow is nothing but inflow minus outflow. You will be having the net inflow. This can be incurred from this particular report. Next, coming for the fund flow report. A fund flow statement is a report which explains the movement of the funds during an accounting period. The statements consist of two parts, that is sources of funds and the application of funds. The difference between the two shows the net change in the working capital during the period. Only those transactions that affect the net working capital of the firm find place in this particular statement. Let's see how exactly we can generate the fund flow report from Tally, navigating from gateway of Tally. So, from display, you need to enter on cash or fund flow report. You will be able to view the working capital opening and closing balances. Let us consider April. Here you can see there are current assets. So, working capital has been increased and there are no application of funds. In the similar manner, you can just enter on January. Here also you can see there are changes in the current assets, whereas application of funds remaining nil. So you can see working capital has increased. Moving on to the cash flow projection. A cash flow projection is a report describing how cash is projected to flow in and out of a business. The cash flow projections are used to anticipate the cash to be generated or expended over a chosen period of time in future. It lets you know when the expenditures are too high or when the short-term investments to handle cash flow surplus need to be made. Now let's see how exactly we can generate the cash flow projection. So it can be generated from display, cash or fund flow, and cash flow projection. By pressing Alt F1, you will come to know the current balances of receivables and payables, and accordingly you can make the cash flow projection and you can make the decisions for your business. Now let's understand about the importance of the optional vouchers. Let's see for what purpose the optional vouchers are used. If you do not want a transaction that is incomplete to affect your books of accounts, you can mark that particular transaction as an optional voucher. Once the transaction is complete, you can modify the voucher details and you can post it as a regular voucher. For example, pro forma sales invoice. In fact, an optional sales invoice is printed as the pro forma invoice. Also, optional vouchers allow you to see the impact of the transaction without actually posting them with the help of the scenario management. So, this scenario management we are going to discuss in detail in our upcoming topics. Also, optional vouchers can be used to forecast the future sales. For example, you can create a new voucher type as sales forecast, and you can record the future sales projection using this voucher type, and you can view its effect on your reports, that is statements and other things, with the help of the scenarios. Now let us see how exactly we can record the optional vouchers with the help of an example. On the 10th of January, you would like to view the balance sheet as of today, but December salaries are not due for the payment until the first week of January. The balance sheet will not project the correct figure. So to overcome this, you can enter an optional voucher dated 10th of January. So here, we can debit the salaries account and we can credit the provisions, and we can make the entry as optional. Let's see how exactly we can record the optional vouchers in Tally. In order to create the optional vouchers, you need to press F11, Accounting Features. You need to ensure that Use Reversing Journals and Optional Vouchers option is set to yes, so that we can record the optional vouchers. And create scenarios so that we can view its effect on the report. Let's go to Accounting Voucher. Let's create a journal voucher. As on 10th of January 2015, by debiting the salaries worth 50,000 and crediting the provisions. So here there is a provision ledger exists. So let us change the provisions ledger under current liabilities. And in order to make this voucher as the optional one, on the button bar you will be able to see an option that is optional. And also you can use the command as Ctrl+L to make any entry as optional. Currently we are having this optional provision only for the accounting voucher and not for the inventory voucher type. By pressing Ctrl+L you can accept this one. So you can go and check the effect as on your profit and loss statement as on 10th of January. That the salaries accounts are not affected. So unless and until you go and regularize the particular voucher type, it's not going to affect the books of accounts. Let's now see how exactly we can regularize the voucher once the voucher is complete. So in order to regularize the optional vouchers, you have to navigate from Display, Exception Reports, Optional Vouchers. You will be able to see all the optional vouchers till date that we have recorded in the data. Enter the optional voucher, and on the right hand side you can see a regular option getting highlighted, or simply you can press Ctrl+L and accept the ledger, accept the voucher so that it will be regularized. So once the voucher is made regular, it will be removed from the list of optional vouchers, and you can check its effect now on the profit and loss statement. You can press Alt F1 and you can see over here the entry has started affected our profit and loss statement. Let's look at the reversing journals that we are having in Tally.ERP 9. Of course, optional vouchers are a great way to record vouchers that you may regularize later or include in scenarios. Another powerful feature that we are having is reversing journals. What are these? A journal voucher that shows up in reports only if its date is greater than the last transaction date. Do you remember the last transaction date which was covered in the beginner session? The last transaction date is nothing but the date of the last regular voucher that we have recorded. It's neither optional nor reversing. So let's see on the gateway of Tally what is our date of last entry. So our date of last entry is 20th Jan 2015. So whenever you want any optional voucher or reversing journal to have effect on your report, By creating a scenario, you should ensure that the date of optional voucher or reversing journal is greater than the date of last entry. Otherwise, it will not be having any effect when you check the report using the scenarios. So let us now continue with the same company, that is Acme Private Limited, as our current company, and create our first reversing journal. So once again, in order to create the reversing journal, you need to ensure that from the F11 accounting features, use reversing journals and optional vouchers option are set to yes. So now in order to pass the reversing journal, navigate from accounting vouchers. So once you enable the option reversing journal from F11 accounting features, once you enter on the accounting voucher creation screen, on the button bar you will be able to see an option reversing journal, or else you can use the command, that is functional key F10, to record the reversing journal. Let's create a reversing journal and change the date as on 1st February 2015. And let us debit salary with the amount 1 lakh and credit it to the bank account. By default, applicable up to date will be considered as the voucher date. Based on the date, it will have the effect on the scenarios. Let us enter and accept it. So now we have seen how exactly we can create the reversing journal. The usage of the optional vouchers and reversing journals using the scenarios, we are going to discuss in detail in our next topic. So now let us see how exactly scenario management is handled in Tally and what exactly scenario management stands for. Scenario management is a management tool that enables different displays of accounts and inventory related information by selectively including certain type of vouchers without affecting the source data. Source data here is nothing but the actual transaction that we have recorded. It is also useful in generating the provisional reports where entries are not actually made in the main books of accounts. It is also a useful forecasting tool, that is, you can forecast the expenses using provisional vouchers and include them in your report. The vouchers that you are used in scenario management are the optional vouchers, that is nothing but whichever the voucher type you have converted as option, those can be included over here, and the memorandum vouchers and the reversing journals can be included in the scenario. Now in this section, we are going to show you how to use the above mentioned vouchers in report. And you can also create a number of scenarios, each including or excluding one or more types of voucher entry or voucher types as stated above. Let's create a scenario now and check it out. As you remember, already we have recorded the optional vouchers and reversing journals in our previous slides. Now let us create a scenario for these vouchers and let us see how these entries have been affected while viewing the report and how exactly this can be helped in making our business decisions. So in order to create a scenario, you have to navigate from Accounts Info, Scenarios, Create, give the scenario name as Include Actuals. So here, while creating the scenario, we have provided the option whether you want to include your actuals along with the reversing journals, optional and memorandum vouchers that you have recorded for comparing the report, or whether you want to just include the other voucher types that you have recorded. So as per the requirement, you have to enable it. Let us now enable this option, that is Include Actuals. And also there is a provision that we have given whether you want to exclude forex gain or loss calculation. If there are no forex transactions, this option will not appear over here. If there is a multi-currency feature that is used in your company data, this option will be highlighted whenever you are creating a scenario. Here under the include, you might be seeing we are having the options like end of list, optional vouchers, and the memorandum vouchers and the reversing journals. If you are going to select the option as end of list under include, it means that we are going to include all the voucher types. And under the exclude, if you are going to select end of list, it means that everything has been excluded. So here what you can do is, if you are going to specify under include as end of list, under exclude, specify the voucher types that you want to exclude from the above list of vouchers. So for our scenario, let us consider the reversing journals along with the actuals. And under the exclude, let us select end of list so that apart from the reversing journal, other voucher types from the scenario will be excluded. Let's enter on the balance sheet. Press F12. Enable the option show vertical balance sheet to F, wherein we will be having the display of source of funds and application of funds. So, right now when you enter on balance sheet, as of 1st February 2015, you are able to view the ledger balances or the group balances as per the actual transaction that we have recorded. Now, in order to compare with our scenario, let's press Alt. Mention the period for whichever you want to compare the report. Select the currency. And here, if you have created a scenario, you will get an additional option, that is type of value to show. Here, we are going to select the option include actuals and enter it. You can see the effect over here. There is an increase in the profit and loss statement. And also, there is a decrease in the current asset. And also, if you want to know the difference between your actuals and the scenario that you have created, once again press Alt C. Mention the period here and select the scenario that you have created and enable the option show variance. So that you will come to know what is the variance that you are having from the actuals and compared with your scenario that you have created. So, as per that one, you can make the decision and then you can regularize the voucher. If you have created options and reversing journals, you can make it as a post it as a journal voucher if you want to start affect that particular voucher to your books of accounts. A must feature in Tally.ERP 9 is the ratio analysis. This single screen report captures the essential figures that shows the health of the company. Ratio analysis is like a medical checkup report and is another reason why it is found in Gateway of Tally. Let us consider the same company data, that is AFME Private Limited. So, in order to go to a ratio analysis report on the Gateway of Tally, just enter on ratio analysis. The layout is very simple. The top left shows the investment, that is working capital, and the bottom right shows the return on the working capital, while the flow of the report shows the various parameters of the company. Every business type has its own different characteristics on the ratios and other percentages. There are no rules on what is right or what is wrong. As discussed before, we will not get into the details of what each mean to the business owner. All you need to do is show this report. All parameters have drilled on to complete details. So we have come to the end of the session. So today we have covered a lot of topics that are in the domain of accounting instead of just bookkeeping. So we have covered the topics on reminder letters. We have seen how we can take the print of the confirmation of accounts for the single ledger, multiple party ledgers and email the reports. And we have seen the interest calculation feature, multi-currency transaction handling, and generating the cash and control report and understanding. And we have understood how exactly we can use the optional vouchers and reversing journal usage, and how these two voucher types can be used in the scenarios and compare the reports. And finally, we have discussed on the topic ratio analysis. We trust that you can better appreciate what Tally has to offer to improve the business efficiency. If you have any questions that we have missed out while taking the session or answering during the program, we request you to reach to our customer care Tally Care support toll-free number. See you all for the next session. Goodbye.